My name is James Keast. I'm the editor-in-chief of Exclaim magazine. Yeah, I'd never been to Asia before. It's a more foreign culture than you're used to, where you go to Europe or Central America. There's some foundation of culture that is familiar to you, and Asia is absolutely a different world. Food-wise, was certainly much more adventurous for us, and just in terms of what the basics are for food, where things that people would just take for granted are foreign to us, whether it's eating a meal that has eggs in it, and they tell you it has eggs in it, and then you realize that eggs in Taiwan are not necessarily chicken eggs, and you mentally sort of default that eggs are chicken eggs, but not there. They're commonly duck eggs, as it turns out. But I guess the other thing that struck us most significantly was the political history of the country and the ways in which, having been a country under martial law as recently as 20 years ago, within our lifetimes, the significant changes that the country has undergone culturally and socially in those last 20 years. I would imagine it's similar to being in Eastern Europe or in the former Soviet Republic since the end of the Soviet Union, just in terms of the transformative effect that has happened to a culture in a really, really short time. I don't want to give the sense that all Taiwanese bands are political, because that's certainly, some of them have certainly been informed by their political experiences in the country, but a lot of them aren't. I think that the primary motivator is the opportunity to play music. When we were interviewing Cao Chuching, the guy that we were speaking to when the interview was done, told us that if he had given this very interview to us even 20 years ago, which is only 1990, then he would have disappeared tomorrow, like the next day. He would just... And then he said, and because you're journalists from the West, you would disappear as well. And this isn't history. This is stuff that's happened in their lifetime, that there was literally no opportunity to write original music, to express yourself, to say anything in any original way. And so as a result, there is no legacy of Taiwanese bands. There is no Taiwanese Beatles or Rolling Stones. There has never been a legacy of original bands in Taiwan. So most of the bands that we spoke to, their excitement comes from having this opportunity to express themselves, to write original music, to be in a band, to fulfill those dreams and those fantasies, whether it's a fantasy of forming a band in your garage and just rocking out in the ways that as Westerners we just take for granted, that you could form a punk band in your garage in the suburbs. Whereas in Taiwan, that is in many ways a political act in itself. To say, we're going to take control of this form of expression, we are going to own it, I guess, because we can now, and we couldn't before. We didn't get a chance to see Aphasia. We saw them play one song in their studio space, but I'm looking forward to seeing them. Double X, who is one of the earliest pioneers of the Taiwanese music scene. He's been doing it for 20 years. We talked to him, but we didn't get a chance to see him play, and he's coming, so I'm excited about that. And then there's an Aboriginal reggae band called Matsuka that are really a completely different world from the rest of that, because he's Aboriginal Taiwan. They're Aboriginal Taiwanese, not of Chinese or Japanese descent, and their take on reggae music is very tied to the Aboriginal Taiwanese culture, and so that's kind of a different spin on things. And then